Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to take you through a detailed look at the recent reports that Belgorod in Russia went without power after Ukraine launched what's being called a world record suicide drone attack. We'll break down what is known, what's being claimed, the strategic implications, possible doubts, and what this might mean going forward in the conflict. Overnight, multiple Russian news outlets and independent media reported that power infrastructure in Belgorod was significantly damaged. The governor of Belgorod Oblast, Vyacheslav Gladkov, said that overnight shelling had snapped electricity links to thousands of consumers. White Russian media claimed that about 34,000 customers had their power restored by morning, but around 400 people in 24 municipal areas were still without electricity. Meanwhile, local authorities described significant damage across energy facilities in 7 municipalities. In parallel, other reports describe a large drone assault. Ukraine allegedly launched around 251 drones targeting the Belgorod region, including a strike on the Luch electricity substation and possibly related infrastructure. The claim is that this was a record in terms of scale or reach, especially if indeed deep into Russian territory. Some outlets say the drones were intended to disrupt power and critical services, including impact on water pumping stations due to electricity loss. Let's pause there and reflect. Belgorod lies close to the Ukrainian border and has been a frequent flashpoint in this war. Cross-border shelling, drone strikes, and retaliations have long touched this area. So any power outages here, while concerning, are not entirely surprising. But this latest incident raises new questions. If this was truly a record, a suicide drone strike, what does that mean in terms of capabilities, escalation, and strategic logic? First, what might the claims of world record mean? The suggestions are that this strike was unusually ambitious, either in number of drones used, distance covered, or depth of penetration into Russian territory. If Ukraine managed to strike far beyond its usual reach, that signals a leap in drone endurance, stealth, or logistical capacity. It might also mean use of relay drones or forward staging points to extend range. On the other hand, record claims are sometimes made for propaganda effect. The actual scale or effect might be lower than stated. If we assume the reports are broadly accurate, Ukraine appears to be intensifying its attacks on Russian energy systems as a form of pressure. By hitting civilian infrastructure, power lines, substations, auxiliary services, it raises the cost for Russia to continue cross-border operations. It also forces Moscow to divert resources to defend or repair, and maybe to spread its air defense systems more thinly. At the same time, such attacks carry risks of escalation. Russia might respond with even heavier bombardment of Ukrainian infrastructure or push assaults across the front line. The temptation for tit-for-tat is strong. Also, strikes into Russian territory bring political, diplomatic, and legal challenges. Russia will certainly frame this as terror or aggression to rally domestic support. We should also consider alternative explanations or skepticism. Sometimes after pitched engagements, damage or outages may result from shelling or sabotage unrelated to a massive drone strike. Also, power grids are delicate systems. A single node failure can cascade, so attackers don't necessarily need to hit many places to produce widespread blackout. Some outages may stem from prior wear, maintenance issues, or secondary damage. It's possible that the scale of outages is overstated in public claims. Another important point, reports say that some power was restored quickly. By morning, a large chunk of consumers had electricity back. That suggests either damage was not total or Russian repair capabilities are resilient, or both. If restoration is rapid, then the strategic impact is limited and short-term. From a humanitarian view, when a city or region is plunged into darkness, many essential services, health, care, communication, water pumping, are disrupted, people suffer. Hospitals often switch to backup generators, but those are temporary. For civilians in Belgorod, such outages deepen the tension and fear already wrought by proximity to the front lines. This also tells us something about how modern warfare is evolving. Drones are becoming central, and attacking infrastructure is becoming a method of asymmetric pressure. Ukraine, constrained in direct conventional superiority, may find in cyber drones and strikes against soft targets a way to punch above its weight. Russia, in turn, must protect far more territory. What does this mean going forward? We should watch whether the pattern continues. If more Russian border cities suffer power outages, we should monitor how Russia responds militarily and politically. Will Moscow intensify shelling in Ukrainian cities or step up strikes on energy grids as retaliation? Will Ukraine's capacity grow further? Longer range drones, stealthier drones, coordinated swarm tactics? We should also watch how this affects public sentiment. Russians living near the border already face constant danger and fear. If their cities lose power, people will feel more vulnerable, perhaps more critical of how the war is managed. On the Ukrainian side, success in reaching deep targets can raise morale, both domestically and among allies. International observers may see this as escalation or as a sign of desperation. In conclusion, the reported blackout in Belgorod following a massive drone attack is a striking development. Whether it truly marks a world record or is inflated in claims, it underscores how energy and civilian infrastructure are now direct battlegrounds. It places new pressures on Russia's defense and repair capabilities and forces tough choices. But it also raises the stakes. Escalation looms. We'll need to watch carefully how both sides respond. If you like, I can also turn this into a timeline version, or compare this strike to past drone or infrastructure attacks in this conflict to show how game-changing it may be.